Good afternoon. So this is Sirena Nereida, and we're doing part 2 of the show, the Gemini, new moon in Gemini. I know my face is a little bit cropped off because I'm trying to focus here onto the table for you guys for the tarot card. Since we're only going to do a basic 4-card spread, we're going to use the a smaller deck here, and I hear noise in the background, so I'm wondering what's going on. I'm like, ooh. Okay, so let's take a nice deep breath. Remember with Gemini, we were talking about with this new moon in part 1 about there's a lot of movement, intellectual, mental movement, but not necessarily physical action, okay? So Venus and Jupiter are in Leo, and so there's Mars is going to go into Cancer in a little bit later on, okay? And Jupiter and Venus will conjunct each other towards the end of the month. So there's going to be a lot of romance and fun. Yet it's not really one to create a stability, anything stable because of the other asteroids and influences, to remember that. I know I keep saying that. We talked about the Sabian symbol in the forecast already. So in part 1, okay, and I had to go back on the Aries through Cancer. I felt bad to mention how Venus and the kissing of Venus and Jupiter, how it was affecting them. So thank you for your patience on there. So just so you know that we are focused on the new moon in Gemini and the Vishuddha chakra, which is the throat chakra, all right? And so we are focusing and putting our intentions out there. Since energy doesn't have time or space, it's neat because I could just feel everybody's focus and support and encouragement. And thank you. Thank you for encouraging me to continue doing the longer version of the show instead of the shorter one because, it's very nice when you guys give me your support and your feedback. It encourages me to go ahead and continue. Otherwise, I'm like, okay, well, no, I'm going to focus on my son, my family, and my clients. I don't need to give that time. And always thank you, everybody. I'm so grateful for your donations, namaste, and your kindness and your gifts of appreciation of my time and effort. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's go here. We're going to do temperance. And then we're going to go right here. And then I'm going to go here. What do we got? Temperance, Hermit, and Chariot. Oh, and the Moon. All right. Well, this is nice, and needing to have some patience, all right? And really enjoying what we got. This is how I see Jupiter being retrograde right now. Of course, we have the Moon and the Chariot, which the Chariot represents Gemini here. And, but though I do know Temperance is also, it gives the flavor to Saturn, all right? In this case, because Jupiter's in retrograde, I see it. And then we got the Hermit, also, represents Capricorn there. And so we're seeing a combination of things of, we have the cause and effect, what to do and what not to do. And I put my sage right here, So this is what we shouldn't do. We shouldn't hold ourselves to being a hermit. This is the core issue of having balance, being patient, not taking too much, all right? And especially too, we have this time with, when I mentioned with the horoscope, we have Eros and Sappho and Mars all conjunct this new moon, which is all opposite of Pallas. So there is a lot of, people thinking lustful times, and if they're taking anything that's mind altering or anything that can be a little bit out of helps people gets them out of control, then we want to be aware of that. All right, let me just move this. Sorry for the hand there. I just want to move that downward so you guys could see. That was the whole purpose of doing this. Now I'm doing it out of the camera. Okay. You guys know I'm not the most techie person. I say that every time. So here, can you guys see that? All right. So that way you can look in there and see a good card spread. And let me just see. All right. So if you wanted to see that, you got the Temperance. Okay, this is the situation, what we shouldn't do, all right, but we should do this, is get out and about, and the cause and effect, which is good, okay. So what's going on is, like I said, we're talking about temperance, being aware, not going too far, okay, and understanding the effects of certain things, in our lives. Oh, I'm so sorry. I know what some of you guys are thinking. Get it together, Sirena. Okay, so, so how to appreciate the abundance that is in our life too, and not take things for granted or too much, or just because we have something, so, we gotta have it all, Like if you get a box of chocolate, doesn't mean you have to have the whole box that same day. Little by little, enjoy it, spread it around. Now, what we shouldn't do, though, is just lock ourselves up from a situation and just, hide ourselves. And a lot of people do that when they're depressed. When people are depressed, they are only focusing on the negative. And I bring this up because depression, anxiety, panic attacks is well known amongst Geminis, because they overtax, the stress and worry overtax their nervous system. Okay, they're known for getting strokes too. And so when you overtax the nervous system, it's like putting too many plugs in an outlet. It's going to oversurge and it's not going to be able to function. So what happens is that only happens when the person is not disciplined, when they are focusing on the negative and not on the positive and the abundance that they have. When we are not disciplined and we are not we're doing enough with our life. Okay, if you have time to get depressed, you need to get busy. All right. If you have time to have so much anxiety, you need to get busy. You're not doing enough things in your life and that sounds harsh. That sounds so lack of sympathy. And it's not so. What is going on is mentally, when we are very, very active and we are taking and we are involved, not just in ourselves, but in service with others, okay? That's what the collective consciousness, especially being now, fifth dimension and Aquarius, is about being involved with others. So when we have that temperance and we are busy, and we are outside of ourselves, okay? This is going to sound a little harsh. I always call it Dr. Oz, Dr. Phil style, because it's like, gosh, now Mother Teresa coming from the heart and all that. But what happens is when we become very full of depression or anxiety, it's a very arrogant and egotistical stance, because we are worried about our own survival and not another's, okay? And also know that certain foods are going to agitate that and going to make it even worse. So be very aware of what you're eating, how you're managing your yin and yang, your masculine and feminine essence, and how you are participating with others, okay? Because we have the Hermit. You don't want to hide yourself out. You don't want to just go, oh no, because that's not going to do any good, all right? When you're doing that, you are indulging in more negativity. Obviously, anytime we're sick, we've got negative energy in ourselves. We need to balance that out and get some positive energy in us. And being alone within our energies is not going to make it positive. Now, if you're sitting alone underneath a tree, okay, or being at the beach and meditating, or in the mountains, that's different, okay? While you're there, do some rock climbing, hang gliding, windsurfing, or surfing. That'll even get it more going, because you are not just meditating, you are indulging in nature and you are participating. And when you realize that Mother Nature has more power than you do, okay, you're not going to have anxiety anymore, because it's not about having power and the survival. It's about how aware are you in dealing with different situations, your flexibility. What you should do, okay, is get on the move around. Remember, we showed this earlier in the cards. Get yourself going, participate with others. And, be in the middle. Don't see just black or white. See the different shades of gray. Everybody's like, oh, is she promoting that movie? Hey, well, if it helps, and it gives you a better understanding of what's going on, sure, why not, But let me tell you, it's not really the best depiction of a D's relationship, okay, in BDSM. Let me just tell you. And there better be other parts that really depict it, because as a intimacy and relationship coach, I was very disappointed in the movie. Okay, a very superficial Hollywood type, and then putting a negative spin. So anyway, but do get going. Take control. When you are in a chariot, when you're in a car, you have to drive. In fact, during this time, you know what? If you don't know how to drive stick, learn to drive stick. If you know how to drive stick, learn to ride a motorcycle. If you know how to ride a motorcycle, learn to do a big rig. Always learn more to develop yourself, where you are better than in control of yourself. This life is not about controlling other people or controlling the issues of what's going on. It's about controlling your reactions to a situation, okay? Controlling your thoughts. And that's what's very important. And when you do look at, we have here the moon. We got the moon, and then it's right there hand in hand with the sun. So it is showing a new time, a new prosperity, and appreciation for the abundance all around us. All right? Because when we are so indulging in our abundance and the thrills, we cannot focus and throw ourselves into a depression of negativity. We need to be, and I mean, yes, there are times, I do know that there are times we're just disappointed in ourselves. How can we have let a situation go to a certain extent? That I understand, we're going to be that way. Well, we did. Figure it out, move on, but in the process, still stay active, because when you're active, you're going to realize, okay, the support we have. I mean, do you know that dogs are one of the loyal, man's best friend, and very loyal, and they're available, and then we're going to move on, okay? Because if we don't, we're going to hurt ourselves. So shine bright, because your energy inside, your aura, is the love that you are giving. And, people we rely on each other to interchange and the intercourse we have with one another. And I'm talking about communication. For sex is a type of intercourse. It is not the only intercourse. So when we are doing that, it is very necessary, because we are offering and exchanging that positive energy, and it really, really bathes certain people. What I really enjoy is when I go walking in the mornings, and people say good morning. I say good morning to them, good afternoon. It doesn't have to ask a question. It's not hi, how are you? Or how are you? When I really know they don't care how I am. It's a very important thing too in communication. Is a lot of people are rude, especially with text messages. Oh, people say, hey, da 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 da, or they'll just ask a question. They haven't even given me a greeting. They haven't offered me any positive energy, yet they're demanding to be in my field, in my realm of life. Before you ever do that, you offer positive energy. Yes, etiquette is very important, because it has its purpose. A lot of people go, oh, well, that's it. Go ahead, be rebellious, but don't be rude to another soul. Okay, so now we're going to go, and we're going to do a 7-card spread with the oracle cards, okay? And, it's with these oracle cards. Now I picked, just so you know, and I'm not endorsing them, I get absolutely no money, but a lot of people do ask, the Enchanted Map Oracle cards, okay, if you're wondering. And let's see here, I had the Rider, I always get them backwards, tarot cards there. Okay, so here we go. Children out. It must be exciting. Give them things to do. Don't have them just sitting around playing games. Make sure they're being active physically in some kind of discipline. The discipline is good, so that way they learn, just like we have to learn, you know. So also put them in something musical, creative, or painting. And then put them in something, when I say higher mental capabilities, either philosophizing, learning a language, some kind of activity. It's really good. They do not need the TV. Reading is very wonderful, okay? So let's do this one more and cut. A lot of people don't know what to do with their kids. And be with your kids, talk to them, hang out with them, watch a movie with them, talk about the movie. Being on the phone next to your kid is not quality time. It's really showing your child that they're not important, that the person on the other line of the phone is more important than they are. Anybody physically in front of you, with you, is more important than the person on the other side of that phone, unless it's a death, long distance that you hadn't communicated in a while, or you're making at least a $10,000 deal. Okay, yes, I'm saying I guess $10,000 is more important than the person physically next to you. But I'm not. It's not that they're more important, but I'm pretty sure the person physically next to you wouldn't mind that you shared it with them after. Okay, so here we go. Shuffle a couple more times. So while I'm doing this, I'm going to talk to you, might still bring it up, that the archangels this time is Archangel Gabriel and Zadkiel, okay? And the other archangels, Zadkiel's for teachers, all right? And Gabriel's for news and information. Zadkiel is also for publishing books, okay? So you have communications, Gabriel, and also too is Metatron for vocabulary, Uriel. Okay, used to be Metatron, or Uriel is now Metatron. So for the vocabulary, which really goes with the Gemini and the throat chakra. So those are the different archangels you want to focus on when we do our meditation, okay? So here we go. And actually I said I was going to do a 7-card spread. That's a personal spread. I'm going to just do a 3-card spread on this, okay? So here we go. And we got education, very important. It goes with Gemini, because Gemini rules the 3rd house, which is our primary education. Okay, let me show you. And let me just move the camera here. Oh, very nice. Hope no one's getting vertigo right there. Okay, so got education, listening, and wizard of awareness. So watch your vertigo right there. Okay, and so with the education, like I was mentioning, is very important because it does represent Gemini. It is Gemini's ruler of the 3rd house, Mercury, and it is in charge of your primary education. And really, education opens our horizons. It is enchantment. It helps us escape ourselves. It gives us different perspectives of how to see life outside of our society teachings, our media teachings, our family teachings, and our school system teachings. When you read books, you know, especially from other philosophers or from other readers, you know, when I've read about, from Osho and Umberto Eco, one of my favorite poets is Leopoldo Legones, besides Pablo Neruda. Those are my favorite poets, okay? You know, reading Voltaire and Descartes, it was just Wow, okay, unamuno. I got to get out of being here and seeing different ways. And it was just amazing how sometimes I agreed more with that than here, and I didn't feel like I was all alone anymore. I felt I was embraced, just happened to be in a different space. And I used to say, oh, I was born in the wrong time period. No, I was born in the right time period to encourage and bring it all together and share. And that's what I have learned. Instead of lamenting and being melancholy, you take all that and do with it, okay? So, but to have an education, we need to know, be able to listen. A lot of us, when we're talking with someone, and yes, we're speaking with someone, you know, you ever notice how some people say, hey, I need to talk to you? I'm like, you're not going to talk to me. You can have a conversation with me, but you're not going to talk to me. Maybe if you're my boss and you're paying me a lot of money, I might have to deal with that. Outside of that, no. Okay? We do talk to kids, but you do not talk to another adult. And that is a lot of problems. What's going on is when people are having a conversation, they are not speaking with, they are not listening with someone else. They're doing it too. And a lot of times when we're supposedly listening, we're actually thinking what to say. Okay, and that is very important, and that breaks down communications. It waters down the understanding of the other person's concerns and personal agenda, and it invalidates our own. Okay, so very important, nice way also to showing love is just listening, not necessarily speaking. Though I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to say this as a coach and counselor, that do not listen to the same story. If the person's lamenting over and over and over, past 3 times, 3 times you're out. If they haven't gotten up to do something about it and changing their story, they do not allow them to be a victim. Do not encourage them. You're not showing love. You are allowing them to get worse. Okay, that's like letting someone do a drug. Make them snap out of it. Tell them about the positive and move forward. Okay? We all do mistakes. It's inevitable. We're here to grow. Okay? But it's how we deal with those situations and those mistakes that makes us a better person. We have the Wizard of Awareness. Okay? And being aware of what's going on. This is going back to mistakes and things like that. Being aware of every situation. Knowing when to let yourself drown because of someone else and knowing when not to. And a very important lifeguarding skill. And, unfortunately with it's true, but, police officers and firefighters, paramedics, is you have to save yourself before you can save someone else. So if you think that by drowning yourself or putting yourself at jeopardy to help someone else is wise, and that shows love, that shows stupidity and ignorance. And I say that because stupidity is when you know and you're not applying it. Ignorance is you had no idea. If you're now watching this, it would be stupid to do that. If you didn't watch this and you thought that was the way, that was ignorant. Very important understanding of the vocabulary words. Look them up in your Webster dictionary, okay? I'm very clear, had many arguments with that, especially as a teacher, looked it up, based it. But now, having listened to this, it would be stupidity to do that because it's not valid. You need to take care of yourself to be able to then help support or guide someone else. When I say support, we're talking about emotionally, psychologically, to better realms and activities of life. Okay, and that is being very aware. Be aware of your surroundings. Why is certain things allowable and why certain things aren't. Think about why certain things are illegal and why certain things aren't illegal. What are the repercussions? What is it trying to avoid? Not just to control. There must have been an issue. One of the reasons is before people had many spouses, and then it says, don't do that. or being involved with many people, because people were having trouble identifying who was the father. And in the beginning, they didn't know. Well, the tribe had to then take care of it when they wanted, support from the father, And if they didn't know, and you had been involved with so many, well, ta-da, So this way they said, don't mess with someone else's, because, there's that growing up with the child. But then, lo and behold, we can always argue the situation that adopted children, right? Children that have their parents as portals, only to exist in and be involved in other reasons for their sole purpose. So these were the cards, okay? We talked about the archangels Gabriel and Zadkiel. During this time, so anytime you're doing, Sage, by the way, and during this time when you read, when you study, when you write or publishing or doing some kind of learning experience, or you're teaching others, go ahead, call them in to really support you at this time, and to be there, and, and include your spirit animal guides, your animal spirit guides, and your angels, and your spirit guides in general, even your ancestor spirit guides. But right now, we're going to moving right along. Let me move these cards over to the Vishuddha Chakra section. Okay, the throat chakra. And why a throat chakra? Where Mercury talks. You're going, oh, is your Mercury in the Gemini? No, my Mercury is in Leo. Okay. Just so if you're curious, so some people have written me, and I always curious writing. One day I should just start off with my little chart to the side, So I have nothing to hide, trust me. I find it fascinating other people's interpretations. It's kind of cute, So, okay, let me see my notes here. Here we go. Alrighty, and with the Vishuddha chakra, we are talking about expressing ourselves, opening this up. When people have the Vishuddha chakra closed up, it's their thalamus, hypothalamus, their thyroid, their parathyroid, okay? And you can even have jaw problems because you're holding it in, and every time you hold something in, like right now, take a deep, just like you want to say something, you're not. Another thing that happens with that is we can break out and get cold sores, and it affects the kidney areas. Because, not the kidney, I should say the adrenals, which are in the kidneys, okay? So the thyroid affects the adrenals. Anything that's going to affect the adrenals and put a hold on it when we're holding ourselves so tightly, okay? So if you're having locked jaw, all right, all this area, and what happens when we do that, when you're holding tightly, you're also, holding in your stomach muscles. And some of you are going, then why don't I have a six-pack if I'm always stressing and doing that to my, to my adrenals? Good point. Maybe you're not tightening hard enough, okay? Look at it right now. So anytime you feel, okay, that it's, all right, well, it's also your shoulders there is involved. You are tightening and not allowing the nervous system to function correctly, or the oxygen to pass through, and the adrenals are being overstressed, so you need to take some B6 and B12 for that, and making sure you're detoxing. So the best way to not get anxiety, not get depressed, is by breathing deeply. Okay, because try and breathe in deeply and tense up. You can't, you gotta let it out, right? So breathe in deeply through your nose and into your abdominal region, and always hold for 5, and you release. Always release the toxins from your mouth, okay? So let's go over here. And so some of the essential oils, and a nice mixture to make if you do your aromatherapy. I know I was making my face creams and body lotion during the weekend, is hyacinth, and lavender. Love lavender. Lavender is also good for the face because it helps inflammation. It helps to deflame any inflammation. Patchouli. A lot of people like patchouli. Some even say it's an aphrodisiac. Clary sage, okay. Clary sage is also good for cleansing and releasing negativity. Lilac, very soft. Cypress, frankincense. We all know the beauty of frankincense and coltsfoot. Peppermint. Be careful about putting peppermint or taking it internally. It is good, but not for children. Instead of peppermint, I would take spearmint, okay? Because spearmint is a little less concentrated. In fact, a lot of people who have stomach ulcers cannot eat raw peppermint. So, try spearmint or a little bit of underneath the tongue, the essential oil of spearmint, okay? So it can aggravate a stomach ulcer, not your intestines. And by the way, if you're like, oh, my stomach hurts. No, your stomach is over here, okay, just so you know. So if you're like, oh, my stomach hurts, yes, that's not going to get heartburn because your heart's actually up here and your stomach is actually partial here and pushing it up, okay? Red clover blossoms, sage, Himalayan pink salt, lemongrass. This is the sage. I picked it from my hike. It was so beautiful. Another healer of mine showed me this was a great place to hike. And you go pick. If you guys are in the San Diego River side area for tapping, okay, we do tapping also. There's Miguel, who is a great healer over there too. And also he's known for San Diego area in Baja California. So just in case you're wondering, if you wanted someone in person, or if not, I'm willing to work with you because I do tapping also. Okay. Blue chamomile, gardenia. Did you guys know that gardenia is one of my favorite flowers? Lang lang, eucalyptus, peppermint, spearmint. We mentioned peppermint. Why do we have this twice? Maybe because it's really good. Okay, and geranium, very nice. Okay, Pablo Neruda has poems regarding geraniums. Spruce, tea tree, nice good disinfectant. Okay, and mandarin. So those are nice essential oils to put together. In fact, it's good for disinfecting. Like we said, if you put mandarin together with the eucalyptus and a little bit of frankincense and the spearmint there, it's really nice for any boils you have, okay, and infections. So good foods to eat at this time to really help cleanse yourself is freshly squeezed fruit juices, all right? It's always best to eat the fruit itself because the pulp, you need the pulp for fiber. But if you're having a little trouble, go ahead, freshly squeezed. Do not add any sugar whatsoever, okay? They have enough sugar. Herbal teas, like again, stay away from the sugar. You don't even need honey. Okay, some people, but with honey, you don't need the sugar. You don't need it. The fruit itself is high in sugar, but it's good sugar that goes through your body quickly. All the other sugars go a little bit slowly. Lemons, limes, kiwi, grapefruit, apples, pears. Now, I know some of you people with IBS, you might want to try peeling the apples so that way you're not cramping, okay? But the more raw you go, you'll realize that you can eat those apple peels, okay? Plums, peaches, apricots, ginseng, very good for after eating, okay? Ginkgo biloba, reishi mushrooms, barley, wheatgrass, banana. I don't know why I said that like that. Kelp and echinacea. All those are good foods and herbs for your Vishuddha chakra. And now let's go into the crystals that you want to wear during this time. Okay, so lapis lazuli, really nice. Any kind of turquoise. Okay, blue sodalite and carnelians and your chamomite, malachite, very good. And malachite's very popular, especially in Latin-speaking countries. Okay, hematite, aquamarine, azurite. Hematite's really good, and turquoise also. Let me back up and lapis lazuli for grounding. Carnelian's good for grounding. If you are a mutable sign or an air sign, you need that grounding, okay? Very important. Especially if you're a water mutable sign, like a Piscean, you need that grounding. So we have blue topaz, pearl, jasper, bloodstone, good for grounding also on jasper. Blue agate, criscola, blue calcite, um, larimar. Okay, I know I say larimar. Tanzanite, hemimorphite, and blue tourmaline and blue halylite. Okay, so those are great. And some of the yoga positions that you want to do, of course, always start off with, you know, your sun salutation. And since this is a new moon, make sure you're doing it. If nothing else, make sure you're doing your sun salutation, you know. And when you're doing it, make sure your shoulders, you're not going here. Your shoulders are straight, pulled down. And you're going to feel, right here. And that's very important because when you're breathing into that, sorry, it just felt really good. You're breathing into it, you're allowing the oxygen to flow, especially in this area, because here is where our lymph nodes gather. It's part of our lymphatic system, okay? And when our lymphs are full, that's where the cancer cells, we all have cancer cells. We all have, different virus cells in our body. It's when they start feeding and getting bigger because of the negative toxins in our body. The point being is when those lymph nodes are too filled, all right, then they need to feed off, okay? And those lymph nodes just really create those bumps. So it's really good. Make sure, ladies, you are not sleeping with a bra. The other day I was listening to a radio station and they're talking about sleeping with a bra, yes or no. And I couldn't believe how, 70% of the women sleep with bras on. What are you doing? You should be sleeping au natural. Okay, if you have your children with you, well, loose clothing so nothing is constrained. All right, if it's a daughter too, who cares? And you're a woman, you're a man, as long as, separated, just like, people did in and the Native Americans when you all slept in one room, get over it. Okay? No, that you're not touching or put a pillow in between, but really let your body, okay, circulate. It's the time the body rests and it needs to move. If there's a bra right there, okay, how is it going to allow that circulation, especially then you're leaning and you're not allowing all that to go. You're just asking for health problems. Okay, so really